Hi, welcome to Golden Years. I'm Lori Betts. April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and my special guest is Cindy McQuown from Cornerstone Wellness Center. So come on back and we'll tell you what's happening. I called 211.
A free community service that connects you with information about social, health, and government resources specific to Medina County. Call 211 for the info you need 24 hours a day.
211 met my needs.
211 helped my parents.
211 showed me the way.
I called 211.
Welcome back. My guest is Cindy. Thank you, Cindy, so much for being on my show.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks for having me.
And Medina is such a collaborator of all the agencies working together. I hear you have teamed up with the Hands Foundation and you're working on some wonderful programs for our seniors.
Right. A lot of people ask, why would older adults be concerned about alcohol anyway? And you know what, we with the Hands Foundation have a history of about 10 years of working through a Medina County Drug Abuse Commission grant to really raise awareness about the issue that older adults face as they get older with alcohol and their medications. It's really an issue that a lot of folks think not so much about, and we're out to try and educate older adults so they can be safe.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of seniors are on a variety of medication.
They absolutely are. Really, you know, older adults or adults 65 and older are only 17% of the population right now, but they really consume about 1/3 of all the prescriptions that are out there. Yeah. And really even a 1/3 of those prescriptions are for things like pain or sleep. Mm-hmm. The very kinds of medications that are really dangerous if you mix them with things like alcohol. So we just want older adults to be aware about their unique vulnerability to problems with medications and with alcohol as they get older.
And so some seniors might think that, okay, if I took my drugs in the morning, I could have a couple drinks in the afternoon because it won't affect what's going on inside of my body. Right. And that's definitely negative.
Well, and we just, you know, I don't want people to be alarmed, but I want them to be wise. Be a wise consumer. Read and make sure you understand the directions, which is oftentimes an issue, especially if you've got multiple medications. And again, older adults are more likely than any other age group to be on multiple medications. Medications can interact with one another, so that's an area of concern. It's important that older adults talk regularly with their physicians and their pharmacists about any medication that they're taking from the doctor, any over-the-counter things that they're taking, and really to be very aware that as you age, your body's sensitivity to alcohol is greater. And so even if you don't take medications, alcohol use is something you need to pay attention to and know the facts about. But especially if you take medications, be very, very aware of what potential medicines might interact harmfully with alcohol.
So really read those side effects.
Yeah, read those side effects, read the warning signs, and don't disregard them. A lot of people will say, it's okay. Mm-hmm. We really want people to know that as you age, you just really need to be more attentive to those kinds of things.
And I'm sure this is an issue too. Some people get their drugs by the mail.
Right.
Then they go to Mark's because it's cheaper. Then they go to Giant Eagle.
Right.
So they don't have one specific pharmacist.
Sure.
And I'm sure the local pharmacist will help Mrs. Jones if she goes in there and says, you know, okay, I've been taking this drug and I'm really depressed by midday.
Yeah.
And then she might turn to the drink, the alcohol.
Right. It does happen. You know, issues of depression and anxiety also increase with aging. And those are vulnerable times where you're more likely to be on a medicine, times where you might look for something to make you feel better, like alcohol. But alcohol's, again, you add that to depression or anxiety, it just prolongs a problem and makes it last longer. Doesn't help. And again, a lot of information about pain medicines and medicines for anxiety. Alcohol can interact with those kinds of medicines and it can be deadly. So it's not something to play around with. We have some great, you talked about collaboration, Lori. There's been a great collaborative in our county over the past year called the Living Well Coalition, and they really collaborated and did a whole survey of Medina County residents, youth, and adults. But one of the reasons I'm really grateful to be on your show is that we want people to know from that survey, we've learned that we have a pretty concerning problem regarding binge alcohol use in Medina.
What is binge? What does that mean?
Binge alcohol use, really the standard definition from the Center of Disease Control is, if you answer yes to this question, have you in the past 30 days consumed 5 or more alcohol-containing beverages in one sitting? And if you say yes to that, you're considered a binge alcohol user. Now, what we learned is that in our county, of the folks who were adults that responded yes to that question, 38% of them let me rethink that. Of the drinkers, right? So they ask about, do you drink? And then of those who drank, they asked the binge alcohol use question, and 38% responded that yes, they had indeed done that at least one time in the past month. 32% of adults over 65 said that they had done that in the past month. The concerning part is the national binge alcohol standard is only 17%. So that's concerning for our county. Binge alcohol use is really associated with greater harm. That's why we try to raise people's awareness about it. You're 14% more likely to drive, 14 times more likely to drive while you're impaired if you binge alcohol drink. Binge alcohol use is related to increased risk of heart problems and stroke. Binge alcohol use is also more related to injury and to poor diabetes management. So we want people to understand it's a dangerous behavior. For me, I want older adults to understand that standard definition that we have of 5 or more drinks, really, it's less than that if you're an older adult, an adult over 65. The American Geriatric Society says that if you have 3 or more alcohol-containing beverages at one sitting, that's hazardous or harmful to you.
I would think so.
Yeah. Again, because older adults are more likely to be on a medicine.
Several.
Right. And because your metabolism changes, and that affects how we process alcohol. So what I always say to people over 65 is less is more. And you really need to be aware of that.
And your diet.
Yes.
Your diet changes your body chemistry too.
Yes. Yeah, all of those things taken together mean we really just need to educate adults over 65. Be aware. Less is more. And you know what? Pay attention. How much does really count?
So if maybe I have a glass of wine at my meal,
Right.
That's fine.
Right. But I will tell you, we, through the Hands Foundation, have a program called Prevention Bingo. It's a great game.
Wonderful game.
To play. And it's a game, and it's also educational at the same time. But educating adults about their unique vulnerability to issues with medications and alcohol. But we had a lady who responded to me one time after the event. She said, I'd never, ever thought that my glass of wine that I have with my meal could be potentially problematic because I take an aspirin every day and have for years because of my heart issues. And you know what? That's one of the common kinds of interactions. Aspirin, alcohol don't go well together. They both irritate your gastrointestinal tract and they could cause problems. So it's things like that. We try to help people just understand and be a well-informed consumer. Know your own body, know your own medications, give all of that information to your doctor, to your pharmacist, and be very aware of the risks related to alcohol as you get older.
Yeah. And know your body. We know our body. So
Right.
if you have changes going on, then you have to stop and think, okay, well, maybe I don't need that drink.
Right. Well, the example I always use is, you know what, that cheesecake I used to eat when I was younger and not think twice about, that doesn't happen so much anymore. Stuff slows down. So that applies to not only food, but to medicines that we've been taking and to alcohol. We just don't process it as effectively. It stays in our system. It affects us more. So it's just important to be aware of those kinds of facts.
And also, too, when they're taking their drugs, sometimes if they like go to the drugstore and they say, okay, my back is really hurting me, I'm going to grab this off the shelf item. I mean, that gets thrown in the mix also.
A lot of people think if I can buy it off the shelf,
It's
I don't need
fine.
to worry about it. But again, even though the print's really small and I need my glasses to see it, it's important to know the details. And it just gets so complicated if you're taking more than one medicine or multiple over-the-counters plus adding alcohol into the mix. It's just very important to get accurate information, to talk to a pharmacist, to read the fine print, and again, to know your own body. Know your family history. You know, problems with alcohol and drugs run in families, just like heart disease and diabetes. So those are important things to remember too.
It starts somewhere.
It does start
So you have to be
somewhere.
aware.
But again, just the fact of getting older makes a person more vulnerable to the harmful effects of alcohol. People have a concern, they could actually go to the Hands Foundation website and really do a little survey, get some more information about whether you might be at risk, and it gives some more details about where you could look to talk to somebody or get more information if you thought that were a problem.
Is there like a test or something the senior might
Yeah, it's
be
kind
able
of a
to take?
self-test, just
Okay.
answering some questions that, again, will help guide you to know if you could be potentially putting yourself at risk by the alcohol that you consume.
And be honest with yourself.
Yes, yeah, be
Yeah.
honest with yourself. Again, it's about being healthy. You know, in the golden years, that's critical. You want to live and be happy and healthy. Health is so much where it's at. And so this is just one of those additional things. You know, I don't want to tell people, oh, geez, I don't want to be the alcohol Nazi. I want people to be aware so you can live your best life and live a quality life and not put yourself at any risk.
And like you said, with our bodies changing, I mean, it's a challenge with
Yes.
arthritis and the bones aching and the lower back issues.
Right.
You know, don't add to the problem.
Right. And again, those kinds of aches and pains increase as we get older. That's, again, another potential vulnerability because when you get aches and pains, you're likely to visit the doctor, you're likely to get a prescription. You know, it's talking about those kinds of just basic life things that happen to us that increase the vulnerability as we age to problems with medications and then with alcohol. It's putting all that stuff together and just, again, being aware.
Yeah, because even if you're in a depressed situation, you know, having the alcohol drink, it's not going to make the issue go away.
Right. I mean, alcohol's a great anesthetic. It certainly will numb pain, even emotional pain. But especially if a person is depressed, alcohol will make it last longer. It just really isn't. It's kind of a short-term kind of response that will only prolong the pain of a depressed mood. You know, there are lots of really good treatments for depression, and alcohol isn't one of them.
Oh, definitely. Now, your information will be on the Hands website,
Yes,
so
that's
they could.
www.hands-foundation.org. Yeah, and I know that we'll have that up for folks, so if they want to go there, they could check that out.
Okay, and a phone number in case they have any questions. They just might say, I saw your show. I'm concerned about this.
Right.
So they
Right.
could give you a call.
Because we want people to know where to get good, accurate information.
Definitely.
Really important.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and Cindy's going to tell us what collaboration we have with the youth in our county. So come on back.
There's a new calendar in town at MedinaCountyLife.com. If you're 55 years of age or better, you can check it out to learn about events happening all over Medina County. Again, it's at www.medinacountylife.com. This calendar is sponsored by Medina County Family First Council.
Welcome back. I'm Lori Betts from Golden Years. My guest this month is Cindy McQuown from Cornerstone Wellness Center. Tell us all about this program that's going on in Medina.
Well, you know what? It's been a unique kind of adventure between Cornerstone Wellness and the Hands Foundation that really began, golly, it's hard to even remember.
The years
10 years ago.
They add up.
You know, we had really good data coming from Medina Hospital that people were coming in and out of the emergency room with multiple concerns, older adults coming in and out of the ER, but that amongst those concerns were multiple medicines and alcohol, which is really how this all got launched in the first place.
Something so innocent to the senior.
Right,
but
right.
It's
And
serious.
you know what? The question was being asked, what are we doing? And that's where the Hands Foundation came in, and the Hands Foundation got behind seeking funding to begin to raise awareness in our community's older adults about their unique vulnerability to problems with alcohol and other medications. So, this journey, thank goodness for the Medina County Drug Abuse Commission and their grant, because they've been supportive of us, supporting this effort for years. But we've done many things. We've done a prevention bingo, as I talked about before, which again is an educational intervention that we know. Older adults who participate walk away learning more about themselves, about what kinds of risks they face, and armed with information about what they can do. This year we've added some programs, largely in response to wanting to reach, with our older adults, because we're living so long these days, we have kind of different groups, and we wanted to extend our reach to the younger old, and really educate them, and we thought, well, let's engage the youth in this county to help to carry that message. And so we came up with this program that we're calling the Teen Connection. And it makes sense. When you think about groups who are really vulnerable to issues with drugs and alcohol, well, myself as a drug counselor, I think young people, teenagers, and I think older adults. So it was a perfect combination to really begin teaching teens about the issues that are facing the adults in our midst, because while they're learning about older adults, they're also learning information that will be applicable to themselves when they get older. It also is pertinent because one of the number one drugs being abused today are painkillers, opiates, and lots of problems with those nationally, but for sure in the state of Ohio. We've seen huge increase in the number of overdose deaths, and it's just really scary. But another connection between teens and adults and older adults is that 70% of those medications that get abused, people get from their family or friends. So they go to medicine cabinets and take them. And older adults are overrepresented in the number of prescriptions they take. So we really felt like it was a good kind of connection, and we hope to continue to build on that. But right now we've had the wonderful opportunity to work with the Medina County Junior Leadership Group. We have a group of teens who are working together. I'm just so impressed. They've taken time out of their days to work with me. They took time on the day that they had off from school for President's Day to come to a workshop to learn more about the issue.
And Cindy said it was very well attended.
It was really nice.
And they had young, fresh ideas.
Yes, fresh ideas and enthusiasm, and they really want to help. And they're going to work on creating some public service announcements that we will be airing throughout the month of April, specific to the issue of binge alcohol use and binge alcohol use for those over 65. So I'm just really excited about what's happening. It's just been a wonderful collaboration, another example of community collaboration.
That's awesome.
In our county, where young people are stepping up to the plate, wanting to help.
And that is so needed. So needed.
Yeah.
A lot of, in today's world with technology,
right,
the young can't even talk, socialize with the seniors. They want nothing to do with them. Yeah. So this is a golden opportunity.
It really is. And and it works the other way too. You know, part of my thought was, I have no clue how to do Twitter or, you know, all of those social media things that are, again, they're becoming more popular. They are getting more popular in the 50 to 60 age range. So it's another avenue to reach and to educate people. And who better to do that than these youngsters who know what the heck they're doing, whereas I am scratching my head going, I don't know how to do that. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful collaboration. And it's just incredibly creative, full of energy. It was extremely rewarding to provide them with information as well about their elders, to raise their awareness about what's the baby boomer generation look like? What are some of the things that are unique to that generation? What is the World War II, the responsible generation? What are they like? And you know what? To see them interested and want to know, it just was really, really rewarding.
Oh, that has to be. I used to teach junior achievement. In those kids, I mean, it's all about me.
Yep.
You know, so they didn't care about saving money or helping grandma or grandpa. All they wanted to know about where's my next dollar, or I need some money so I could go buy the latest and greatest item.
Yeah.
You know, so that is terrific.
Yeah. I always think any project that can help bridge people and connect them together, and that's really what this is about. It's linking young people with adults that they might not ever really have that perspective about, help them understand in a different way, and really increase their sensitivity and caring and concern.
Oh, definitely, definitely. In your 65-year-old person, so many changes are going on in their life. Either they're retiring, or they have the illness, you know, in front of them, or like you said, they are on a variety of drugs.
Right.
You know, so they might need that young helper to get them through everything.
Or somebody that's at least aware.
Awareness is needed.
Yeah.
Wonderful program. I hope it goes well for you guys.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And it extends into the future for us, because as we get more and more awareness out there, we're just trying to increase our ability to provide adults over 65 with resources specific to this need around vulnerability with multiple medications and alcohol. We hope to have, up in the near future, over the next 6 months, an ability to go online to screen yourself, to begin to identify, do I have a problem? Should I talk to somebody? Or should my friend talk to somebody? It's just all about helping people access the kind of information that they need to make sure that they're living the healthy life they want to be living.
And Medina County is so together helping people, whether it is from illness, the drugs, helping seniors out, whatever their needs are. I mean, I live in Cuyahoga, and it's this big county. And I mean, I am just so thankful for all the seniors in Medina County, because there's just so much help out there, so many connections, and a variety of collaboration going on. So, I mean, shame on them if they don't realize they can pick up the phone and reach out and get help.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that's another great collaboration we've had was with Judge Chase's court. It's been a wonderful opportunity to offer to drivers who are 65 and older who've had some kind of a fender bender or traffic incident, can actually get part of their fines waived by attending the Safer Driver course that we're partnering with Matt Gurwell from Keeping Us Safe, Judge Chase's court, and people get to play prevention bingo. So we're pulling all those pieces together, raising awareness about how to keep yourself safe, which is such a concern for people. My mom, she voluntarily gave up her keys, but a lot of adults who are children of parents who are aging, that's a concern. How to help mom or dad be safe behind the wheel. And this is a great program. Matt does such a great job. And it's not about taking keys, it's about raising your awareness. Just like alcohol awareness is not about taking away your alcohol, it's about helping you be safe. And so it's just really exciting to work together with people that really want to provide programs for that group of our population, which is just mushrooming. It's a 129% increase. By what do they say, 2020 in Medina, we're going to have a 129% increase in our older adult population. That's huge.
That is huge.
We need the stuff here. That's you and me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want the stuff. I want it there for me.
Definitely. And the youth, I mean, they're
Right.
going to be part of the process.
That's right.
So they'll just be able to walk into all the situations. That
Right.
is awesome. And the fact is, driving, it's not only the senior at fault, it's the surroundings.
Yes.
I mean, you are in control of your car, hopefully, but you don't know what's
other
going
people-
on with
sure.
the people around you.
That's right.
I mean, and now that texting is under control now.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
You know, hopefully.
Well, we hope.
Hopefully,
We've at least
we
got some
hope.
legislation to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what that other driver is doing next to you,
right.
behind you, in front of you.
Right.
So you have to be aware.
Well, and I think what that program and what I have learned from Matt Gerwell and what he does is that, again, I feel like as well as anybody, the physical changes that take place with aging. My hearing, even though I'm not 60 yet, but I've had hearing loss, and it is what it is.
It's aging.
Visual changes, all of those auditory and sensory perceptual changes. Matt does a great job of helping people understand how those changes can put you at greater risk, and that how, if even being aware of those, can make you a safer driver. It's a wonderful thing to offer to older adults and to their adult kids. Just really great.
Oh, definitely. I don't even want to drive in the snow in the
I know.
dark.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you
Yeah,
just
all
got
of
to
those
be
things.
aware. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for being on my program. Do you have any good advice that you could leave the seniors who are in need of having answers to their questions?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say, if you don't get the Helping Hands newsletter, get it. Get to that
Definitely.
website.
Wealth of
If
information.
you're not computer savvy, ask one of those younger people to help you, because it's just an incredible resource. You can access a lot of information on the Hands website. And we are going to have, again, a survey up there that you can get some more information about, could I be at risk? In general, what I say to folks, as you age, with alcohol, less is more. You need to know the facts so that you can stay safe.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Lori. It's been great.
Thank you for joining Golden Years this month, and we'll see you next month.
Medina County Office for Older Adults is just a great way to start my day. First of all, the staff, they recognize individual members, their talents and their needs. There's no such thing as one size fits all. It's fun. Fun and games, that is. And the games, they help keep the members physically and mentally fit. I've gotten benefits through my membership, benefits with HEAP, reviewing of my medical records. My life was topsy-turvy, and I look upon the day I joined Medina County Office for Older Adults as a day when I did a cartwheel and I landed on my feet.